In Shetland, children are unable to attend schools due to essential support packages not being put in place due to a lack of availability of services. We have parents who have had to take Shetland Council to court to access this right, and they're forced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to access this right. How will you ensure rights are not only available to those who can, who cannot afford or can afford legal costs? I'll come to you first this time.
Me? We need to just avoid the need to take people to court anyway. I think we should have an arbitration system that is more bulletproof, so that negotiations don't fail in the first place. And I think there needs to be real priority for that. I think whenever something comes to going to court, it's been a failure. I mean, let's talk about a justice system. I think access to justice is also really important, and legal aid is really important from an access to justice perspective. We've seen massive cuts in legal aid over the last 10-20 years. That's a fundamental injustice, and that needs to be fixed as well. Difficult question, and this is an issue, like the issue of it coming to court action between parents and councils is an issue all across the country. I actually bumped into somebody on a train once randomly whose job it was to try and legally defend councils against claims from parents about access to support, and I just thought, where is our society going? From a funding perspective, this is like one of the best returns on investment you could possibly make, like actually making education accessible so that young people can thrive and not live their lives in constant anxiety and state of mental distress, is one of the best things you can do. So for me, there's a really clear argument for properly funding this. I think in Shetland it comes down to staffing and having enough staff to do that. And this is a much wider conversation that we need to have in terms of how do we grow our population, how do we grow our economy, how do we encourage people to come to Shetland. Certainly not by demonising immigrants. I think we need to welcome and have a more welcoming attitude towards people.
Well, it comes back to Scottish Government funding and the priorities that they set. We heard earlier in the video that councils are underfunded. So where's the money going? Alex already mentioned that legal aid, I'm not sure if that's a Scottish or a UK government issue, but certainly it's an issue that it's not available as easily as it previously was. And then there's the issue that the Scottish Government often has an underspend. So what's going on there? If there's a need somewhere, why aren't they spending the money?
If we go back to the question, we have to avoid the situation where we're becoming more like an American society, where the default is to go to court and to sue. The conversations, the inclusion, making sure that the support network, the family, the person is at the heart of the conversation as early as possible. Yes, we need to increase legal aid support, and that needs to not just be a privilege that you're able to afford legal aid if it gets to that point. So I think that having the intervention as early as possible is really important. There's 2 points I would like to pick up as well when it comes to extra funding and extra cash being available, because that resources are really important, but so is money as well, to be able to do the things that we want to do. The bedroom tax, which was introduced by the Labour, by the Tory Lib Dem coalition, the Scottish Government mitigates that every year to the cost of £100 million. that money could be spent on a whole load of different services, really targeting and making sure that we support disabled people in access, for example, to legal aid. The Independent Living Fund, that was again an essential service, an essential pot of funding that was for disabled people to be able to live an autonomous and just and respectful life. That was cut by the Tory Lib Dem coalition as well. Now, Scottish Government is the only place in the UK that sought to reintroduce that. So when we talk about funding, it's really important to remember the past and to remember what decisions and choices have been taken in the past, because they are still affecting today, and Scottish Government is still mitigating many of these big cuts that actually have affected the most vulnerable or vulnerabilised, which is a good phrase, Alec, of our society. And the Scottish Government that I represent is prioritising making sure that those that are the most vulnerable in our society get the respect and the dignity that they deserve.